It is the 1st of October here in Melbourne, Australia, and there is so much going on in our humble little backyard veggie garden. I cannot wait to take you for a full tour. We are right in the middle of spring. A lot of you have been asking me for an update on how my seedlings are going that I've been growing for the Kindy Fundraiser. They're going gangbusters. I'll show you all of that. I'll take you through what we're prepping, what we're planting, what's growing in the ground, and what you could be planting right now anywhere in a similar climate. I'm going to try and keep the editing to a minimum because I've got a couple of other videos on the go at the moment. Lucy is also just down for a sleep, so let's try and get through this. Hopefully she won't wake up in the next 15 minutes. Let's start on this bed over here. So I've been harvesting my lettuces over here to try and create space for planting. At the same time, I have chucked in a couple of marigold flowers, I think they are. I'm loving this little greenhouse thing here. So I've been keeping my tomato seedlings growing in here. As a bit of a test to see if it would work, I've put 2 tomatoes in the ground here. So this is one of the black Russian tomatoes that I grew from seed. This one here is, what did I say a volunteer that I stuck in. And I'll show you a tomato seedling I've got down the bottom which hasn't been protected in this greenhouse, and you'll see what the difference is in size. The other one's tiny and looks really not very impressive. And I've got a bunch of my tomato seedlings here that I've just been keeping warm and protected in this greenhouse or white house. I've been keeping this open during the day and closed at night. It gets too cold for it at night time, but open during the day means it gets exposed to some wind and they start to sort of harden up a little bit. In here, I've got that is going to be a cucumber, mini cucumbers. So my plan is to actually grow the cucumbers up this archway here. And then on the other side, I've got a passion fruit plant. So that's a new thing for me to try, the passion fruit plant. I bought it only a few weeks ago and it was up to about there. So that's cool, it's already grown. While we're on this side, let's stick to this garden bed. I've got a couple of lettuces down there. You can see I've stuck another flower in there. That'll get really big and start to attract some of the pollinators. We've got a beetroot down here, which is looking very misshapen. Not particularly proud of that one. You've seen all my celery before. I'm trying to harvest as much of my celery as I can so that they don't get too big and take over this bed. My garlics are also still doing really well. First sign of some of them starting to die off a bit down the bottom here, but I reckon I've still got a whole lot longer for my garlics, which is why I don't plan to, plant out this bed anytime soon. Starting to fatten up down there at all. Slightly maybe. I'm not sure if I've told you guys before, but my uncle is actually a garlic farmer and I would love to go and check out how his garlics are growing, but he gives me some tips every now and then. You can see these carrots, I was about to call them potatoes, these carrots are doing really well, and I've put some new carrot seeds in the back. And these ones are actually growing nicely. So they're the babies. These are the older ones. Can't remember what colour they were. Are they ready to pull? No, they look way too small. I haven't thinned these out either, so they'll probably be all curly and twisted. But they're clearly not ready to harvest just yet. Okay, let's go down this way now and just ignore the old broken swimming pool there. That will be thrown out eventually. Down here, more flowers, and this is a zucchini plant. If you have a look, you can see I didn't cover it straight away and some of these leaves got damaged by, I assume, frost. And so I have since been keeping it under this, and just look how healthy those newer leaves are. So that's really happy in there. So that is one way of getting your summer veggies in before the last frost, is just to protect them. I use all sorts of different things in my garden. Some people use a frost cloth. Now, what have we got here? This is one of my berry plants. I can't remember which is which, but it's looking really healthy and happy. Hi, Rubes. Rainbow chard, that's boring, you've seen that before. A couple of pots that I am starting to get ready for new things. Check out my chilies. Do you guys remember how great this, well, it didn't look like this, but I had one chili plant that was a super producer and it actually kept producing chilies into winter. I cut it back and this is it now. How's all the new growth? Similar sort of thing with a couple of capsicums. One didn't regrow, I think it was too damaged by frost, but you can see this capsicum is doing really nicely. And that one's a bit messier, but still well and truly alive. And I've got another berry plant there. Now, if you have a look at the back, that is a new bed that I'm starting to prepare. Scroll you up a bit. That is going to be where I'm going to house my zucchinis. Gets lots of light. It's pretty hard to access because I've got all these trees around, but you don't really, well, I probably do need to hand pollinate my zucchinis, but they just needed a spot to go that was out of the way. And that's where they're going to go. So I've put some not quite finished compost down the bottom there. I've also put a layer of leaves, put a bit of soil. I'm going to put a whole lot more soil on the top, and that's where my zucchinis are going to go. Let's take you over here now. And some of the seedlings that I planted for the fundraiser, I've actually keeping for myself, and they were doing really well. So cos lettuces here, they were part of that group of seeds that I planted a couple of months ago. These are fennel. Beetroot had been somewhere else and got eaten, but I sort of saved the good ones and replanted them. You're not really supposed to replant root veggies, but they're doing fine. Yeah, look. So look how dodgy that leaf is, and then look how lovely the new leaves are because I've replanted them with heaps of beautiful nutrients and compost and all sorts of good things. Here, same. Crappy outer leaf, lovely, shiny, fresh new leaf. In here, you're going to see the coriander, the parsley, and some other bits and pieces that I've grown for the fundraiser. Look how good they're looking. So, coriander, parsley, ignore the rocket sign, whatever was meant to be rocket wasn't rocket. Dill at the back there, and more parsley. Really happy with how those are going. I've got them outside, they don't need to be hot. They're getting lots of sun there, and I keep the little netting house closed so that the possums and rats and all that sort of jazz don't get them, because that would be devastating. Who'd like to come over here? My food cubes are doing great. I've netted the whole lot up and it has worked really well. So let's lift this netting off for you. I just use pegs to hold the nets in place. All right, so here's my food cubes. Similar again, I've been harvesting lettuce from that side so I can slowly make space for new plantings, and in the meantime keep some of my seedlings that I'm going to be selling. So these are my lettuces, which are doing really nicely. You can see the shadow of my new gimbal in there and my phone. These are still babies, but I've been harvesting them because I've almost got too many and I want to put some more stuff in here soon. Spinach, more fennel. They were all things that I grew from seed, and hiding in the back there, spring onion, which has been in there for a little while. And what have we got in here? This parsley is starting to take off, which is a big relief because you might remember the possums got to my other parsley. Oh, I've got peas in here, sugar snap peas that are actually starting to do what they're meant to do. Lovely flowers coming through. And the only reason this is working is because I've netted it. I spent so long talking about how I needed to net them, but it took me ages to actually get in and do it. Now you'll notice a very sad looking lettuce here. That's because I often forget when the net's down, I often sort of forget what's in there, and I don't have to water everything else in the food cubes because they get watered from the bottom. These ones I've been hand watering. They're in their little pots. This one's also in its little pot, but I've been forgetting that it's over there and it's lonesome, so it's been drying out, which is why it looks so wilted. Just ready to have a look in here. Start at the top. think they're mostly pumpkins. Pumpkins and zucchinis there. Corn there. Lebanese cucumbers, other cucumbers, golden zucchinis. More Black Beauty zucchinis. They always said these were going to be done too early, but they'll actually probably be fine. They'll just be big by the time they go into the ground. That's okay. Down here I've got nasturtiums. And in this pot, looks like not much, but I stuck a bunch of potatoes in there, and you can see they are now starting to sprout. I labelled them so I didn't forget and think this was a dud old pot. But I'm quite excited they're starting to grow. They were just potatoes that I otherwise would have had to throw out. I'm going to open this up so you can see what's in here, because there's some nice stuff in here. Oh, let's stay open. No, it won't stay open. Okay. So, more lettuces, cos lettuce, more fennel, some beetroot. Everything that's in a little pot is part of that seed collection. Everything that's in the soil I had planted earlier, so I've got my endive lettuce, my parsley, some leeks at the back there, some coriander. I'm very relieved that they're all okay actually, because last night I left this open. I usually open it during the day, as I mentioned beforehand. At night time I close it. Thankfully, it mustn't have been too much of a cold night last night, because they all seem fine. So I've got more tomatoes in here. You can see the leaves. These leaves are a bit yellow, pale and a bit crappy, but all the new leaves coming through are quite a nice colour, which is because I transplanted them and I fed them with more nutrients. Now, one of the videos I was shooting this morning was everything you need to know about growing tomatoes. So if you're growing tomatoes and you need a little bit more detail about how to prune them, how to plant them, how to water them, spots on leaves, etc. We cover all that in the video, which if it's not already uploaded, by the time this one goes up, it will be up in the next few days. What are these? Capsicums? Oh, that's my lemon. Isn't that cute? It's my baby lemon tree. I'm very pleased with that. That was an experiment. This is more zucchini. What are these? Oh, calendula. These are calendula flowers. More zucchinis and more corn. And I stuck some potatoes in there just yesterday, so we'll see how they grow. In this pot, why did I do that? I think this was just a test to see how it'd go. I stuck that little seedling in around about the same time I put in the seedlings that are in my white greenhouse up the top there, and you can see how tiny it is. It'll probably still be fine, but I've been keeping this strawberry punnet over the top of it with a tent peg in there to act as a little greenhouse. These come with their own holes in them, so plenty of air getting through there, and it's fine. Now up here I've got my potting station, but in my potting station I've put some pumpkin seedlings. Same sort of thing again. I'm just covering them up with a bit of plastic, ensuring the airflow can get through to let them grow. Now they eventually are going to be going up here, but they're not ready to go in there yet for a number of reasons. I was inspired by Lizzie, who I did a video with last week, who said she filled up a lot of her garden beds just with kitchen scraps and let them turn into compost naturally. I've put a bin full of compost in each of those, as in kitchen scrap compost, followed by some browns, and I'm going to let them actually turn into lovely soil in the pots. So they won't be ready for quite some time, which is why I'm letting these grow bigger in that little shallower pot for now. I think this will be quite a good spot for a pumpkin patch because they tend to grow wild and go everywhere. So up here, and you obviously only need to pick them once, so up here I can easily maintain the watering and the feeding there. They can grow through there and up the back there, and I don't need to worry about them too much. That's the plan. I haven't done pumpkins before, so we'll see if that works. Got some of these out. to probably put some lettuces in. They're nice and shallow, so a lot of things won't grow in there, but lettuces will grow quite nicely. Now let's talk about lemons. You may have seen I had a video uploaded fairly recently all about caring for lemons, so I'm excited now that I actually know what to do. This was a lemon tree that I completely cut back because it was filled with gall wasp and it was effectively dead. We were going to throw it out, but I said to my husband, just give me a go. Give me a go. Let me see if I can save it. And all the new growth looks really healthy. So it's still tiny, but I'm hopeful. Our lemon and lime trees under here, I have also netted. But I'd like to show you what's under here. I've just used pegs. I have also been giving these guys a lot of TLC. There's a new gall wasp bit that I will either cut off or tape up or scrape off. Lots of lovely flowers coming through there though. And I've given them a bit of treatment recently, so the leaves are looking quite lovely too. You can see those new leaves are all a lovely rich colour to suggest they've got some food. So I'm finally feeling like we might be getting somewhere with lemon trees. And this is how, well, they're lemon and lime, citrus rather. This is also lemon. So we've got 3 lemon trees on the go at the moment. One of them's got to work, surely. This one's leaves are a bit yellow, which I recently learned is a nutrient deficiency. So we've given that one a good feed, and I'm hoping those leaves start to look a bit nicer soon. I've also been topping this up really slowly with a bit of manure. I've got to put compost in there, and I'm going to turn this into my herb garden and a flower garden. The Gimbal's got a cool little tracking feature where it can follow you even if you move. So this is really just a test to see if it works. As I walk through my garden, I can talk to you about life. I love new tools. I'm a bit of a sucker for cool new tools. I got the drone out this morning, the first time in ages. I've really got to get a bit more use of the drone, but it was really cool to film the urban farm at Athol Primary School because it looks amazing from the sky. They've also got the food cubes. I'm going to take you upstairs now. I'm going to see how well the gimbal can track me. Gotta be fast. And here is my previous seedling space. And I have just realised I left in a hurry this morning, and shoot, I haven't turned this light on. It's midway through the day. I usually turn that on every morning. There's a relatively new light purchase. It's a sunlight, which has been really a bit of a godsend, to be honest. I've been loving it. All right, let's have a look. So, Russian tomatoes. I've got Russian tomatoes kind of everywhere. Now, some of these I left outside in the cold accidentally just after I'd transplanted them. Thankfully, not all of them. That one's okay. Look at this one. That's what happens when you don't harden off tomatoes before you put them outside. Hardening off really just means toughening up. And you can see these leaves look quite spotty and damaged. If you have a look at this tomato, it's got a bit of it as well, but the new leaves are nice and strong and lovely. So my other tomatoes, they're all sort of at different stages. They're doing quite well though. What are these ones? Red capsicums, Lebanese cucumbers, red capsicums. That looks like a watermelon, golden baby watermelon. My basils that sort of flopped, but I saved a few of them. And some more chilies and capsicums at the back there. Oh, this is exciting. Look over here. Mandarin seeds. Again, total experiment. They didn't germinate for ages and they finally just sprouted. I thought that wasn't going to work. They were just from the supermarket. And the rest are mostly tomatoes. So any that had been damaged by the elements, I brought up here to heal them back to life. And they are doing much better, but I am going to still have to harden them off. So I'm going to have to start taking them outside before too long, just gradually for a little bit each day and longer periods. Check out my heirloom planters. What are they doing? So that's a cucumber, mini cucumber, which is bigger than all of my other mini cucumbers. They are capsicums. Be careful not to get that damaged by the light. And look how big that tomato is. Is that my biggest tomato? It's certainly my strongest tomato. And I'm planning to keep those in here for good. What do you think? So in terms of timing and what you can plant now, when it comes to tomatoes, it's really about guessing the last frost date. So if it gets frosty overnight, it'll kill off your tomatoes. If you can put a frost cloth over them, you can easily get them out into the garden now. The beauty of growing tomatoes from seed is you can just grow extras and try some early and see how they go. Stick them in now, stick some in later. And if they don't work, they don't work. It is likely to be a slightly warmer than average spring, according to the Bureau's long-term forecast. That's here in Melbourne and sort of southeastern parts of Australia, at least. Other parts of Australia, you probably have to check that out. But it's such an exciting time. I can't wait to see all these babies growing. Summer and spring veggies can all go into the ground in October now, in the next few weeks at least. So that includes your zucchinis, your cucumbers, your peppers, your chilies. Again, it's the 1st of October today, so I'm not going to be putting mine all in the ground and for a couple more weeks. But as you've seen, I've already got a few in there now. Let me know what you think of the gimbal, if it's kind of made you dizzy or if I should keep using it. I'm having fun with it, but I'm not sure if that's just because it's kind of a new and novel toy. We've got some really exciting things coming up. As I mentioned, there are those videos that we filmed with Brian Hunter about tomatoes and his amazing urban farm in Springvale. Also in a couple of weeks' time, heading to Geelong to see another incredible garden, which I can't wait to check out, and I am sending the drone up for that one as well. So you guys are not going to want to miss these. Even if you've already subscribed, hit the bell thing so that you get notifications. And I've also got an email distribution list, which I've talked about before. I'll put the link up there and in the description. If you drop your email on that, I'll just shoot you out an email when the next video is uploaded. Keep the comments going, guys. I love to hear about what you're growing. And now it is time to click on the next videos coming up. And if they're not ones I was just talking about, then head to my latest uploads. You'll find them in there.